Hi all and welcome to a new video. We're going to be going over the Separatist Alliance in Star Wars Legion. Once again, I still have some sort of sickness going on. I apologize that I haven't gotten over it quicker, but my nose is going to be a little stuffy and that might reflect in some of my phrasing here. I will do my best to be clear. The Separatist Alliance is an unrelenting advance of droids that seems never ending, and this army reflects that very well. They are the only Horde army in Legion right now, but they can also be run as a more elite group of battle droids as well. They don't have access to as many surges or surge token generation as other armies. They have a limited command card selection, but most of what they have is pretty good. And it is very easy to get a 10 activation list out of them, which is amazing. Now we're briefly going to go into the AI keyword and how it works before we go into the rest of the army. I have noticed in my casual play a lot of new players are confused by this, even though it is relatively straightforward. The AI action keyword requires a unit to perform a specific pre-programmed action if it does not have a face-up order token. During the perform action step of a unit's activation, a unit with the AI action keyword must perform one of the actions listed after AI as its first action. For example, AI move, AI attack, that kind of stuff. This applies only during a unit's activation. It has no effect on moves, attacks, or actions granted outside of a unit's activation. If a unit has multiple actions listed after AI, it may choose which one to perform, and if a unit cannot perform one of its listed actions as its first action, it is free to perform actions as normal. Starting with the Separatist-only command cards for the Separatist Alliance. The Separatist-only command cards can prove very useful as they work with the coordination keyword very well. Mechanized Incursion lets you get 2 orders off by letting your vehicle order a droid trooper unit. Orbital Strike activates one commander unit and lets them make an orbital weapon attack. This is a 2 black, 2 red attack. Other than as a game opener, this is a very situational card to use. Roger Roger gives a dodge or surge token to 3 droid units and gives out 3 orders. A pretty good way to guarantee most of your army has a face-up order, and one of the few good ways that can reliably generate surge tokens for this army. Grievous's command cards are built around keeping him alive and buffing nearby droids. His 1 pip gives him a dodge token and the ability to nope out of a duel he could be losing, or disengage from a chaff unit meant to occupy him. The extra attack is pretty good as well. And with Versatile, you also have more options to hit as well. His 2 pip gives him a surge token for every friendly troop unit at range 1, and makes every other friendly trooper unit at range 1 Guardian 2 and able to use Guardian during melee for Grievous. This is an amazing buff to an already really hard to kill hero to begin with. Crush Them is a swingy 3 pip. It gives a surge token for every dead enemy unit to each unit Grievous has issued an order to. Its effectiveness depends very heavily on how well you're currently doing in that game. Every faction has one. Count Dooku has 4 command cards, one that came with Ventress as a combo card. Fear, Surprise, and Intimidation gives Count Dooku Arsenal 2, Relentless, and gives his ranged weapons Versatile. The Defender also gets 2 suppression tokens as well for each attack made against them. Double the Fall lets him sacrifice his face-up order token back to the order pool, and lets you choose 2 enemy units within range 2 and force them to do the same. If you bring the right list build, you could pretty much guarantee activating Dooku next with your droid order chain. The Sith Will Rule is an interesting 3 pip as it only gives an order to Dooku. It works best with Ventress and is treated as a 2 pip for hand building, although it is a 3 pip for the purposes of choosing turn activation. And at activation, Count Dooku gains a dodge and aim token and lets Ventress activate after him. You Disappoint Me is his default 3 pip and gives an order to Dooku in 2 units. Any other unit issued an order by Dooku gets a dodge token and gives Count Dooku the ability to perform a speed 2 movement on an enemy trooper he has performed a ranged attack against. This is a really good way to force an enemy to move a unit somewhere where it can't do anything on its next activation. Next up are the Super Tactical Droid command cards, which are pretty thematically interesting. They too will suffer as a great way to shut down an enemy activation. They pick one of their non-commander order tokens, and at any point you can tell them to activate it instead of random drawing. However, since the token is returned to their order pool, it can backfire if you wait too long. Preservation Protocols lets you issue 2 orders and gives them Disengage and Impervious, a great way to stop a lightsaber wielder from being guaranteed to plow through everything. Do not underestimate our means that you order 3 troopers and recover 2 units. If you divulge it at the deploy unit step, instead you give 3 AI units the reinforcement keyword, which lets you deploy them after everything else. Next up are Darth Maul's command cards. He has 6, some of which count as 1 or 3 pips, which magic can be a must-take, as it increases Maul's survivability as it heals him up to 2 wounds and gives him recover. He also removes poisoned and immobilized tokens. It counts as a 1-pip when building a hand. His Eminence, when played while aggressive advancing Maul, can cause mass shutdown in an enemy trooper ranks by generating suppression for everyone. It also allows you to ignore suppression penalties on your own friendly troopers within range 1 of Maul. Seize What Power We Can be a game changer, as it gives you a ton of token generation and can swing around right back to you. Duel of the Fates allows Maul to gain 1 dodge token and stop enemy units from running away and using any tokens they have. This is a card to play when you want to kill one thing very badly. The Phantom Menace is a very situational usage card. It can be divulged to give him infiltrate or used so nothing outside of range 2 can attack him. Not too bad. At Last is a good card to play if you want to bring 3 1-pips and get priority for almost the entire game, as it counts for a 3-pip. It is also lets him get Surge to crit against Force users, which, considering CIS Maul cannot get access to the Darksaber, is really good. And finally, for the command cards for the Separatist Alliance is Asajj Ventress. Ventress's command cards help keep her mobile and alive. The Jedi Shall Fall gives her Jedi Hunter and lets her gain suppression tokens while performing an attack to get dodge tokens. This is actually a melee buff with her card rules, as she can use dodge tokens to improve the dice results. I Am Fear lets her perform a spray attack in the end of her activation, sort of like a flamethrower, which lets you do 1 black dice for every mini in the enemy unit. And it also gives her recover. It is a pretty good extra final attack, as it also has Surge to crit. Yes, My Master gives her a lot of permanent buffs that last the whole game. You choose either Bounty Hunter and Reinforcements, or Demoralize 1, Makashi Mastery, and Outmaneuver, which will be discussed more in our unit breakdown. But I want to let you know right now, Makashi Mastery is fantastic and is most likely the take you want to do. The Separatist Alliance only has 1 battle force currently, the Separatist Invasion. It limits your choices severely, but it also allows you to take 8 squads of B1 battle droids, which is just fantastic. This is a great way to overwhelm your enemy, and it has really good activation control as well. B1s are a little weak, so be careful in how you build them, in both gluing them together and in building them so they can actually survive a little longer. Their command cards, however, are really good. AI Coordination is an interesting 1-pip that gives standby to your Droidekas or tank, which can be a really useful deterrent. Unrelenting Assault lets you spread around aim tokens, increasing your B1's effectiveness in shooting, which you kind of need considering how many you're probably going to be taking. Done well along the B1 order chain, this can just mean you always are rolling at least 2 dice again, with mainly hitting on whites. It's really good. Unstoppable Advance is a great opener or a way to take control of objectives early on. Or just pressure the enemy. Really, just giving all your troopers move 1 is fantastic. Starting off with our commander breakdown is General Grievous. General Grievous is a melee machine. Arsenal 2 lets you swing 2 lightsabers or use his gun upgrade, which lets you shoot in melee. And, well, use a lightsaber as well. Block is a really good thing considering you have Relentless and a free attack, so generating that dodge token to get Surge to defend is pretty useful and not hard to do. Impervious is good as it keeps you alive for a lot longer. Jedi Hunter lets you get Surge to crit against any Jedi or real Force user. And his DT-57 gun upgrade is a 2 red, 2 white, Pierce 1, Critical 1 versatile weapon, which is just about hitting as hard as your lightsabers are there, so pretty good. All around, he is considered one of the weaker Separatist heroes, but I mean, if this is one of their worst things, then you know just how well off this faction can be sometimes. Count Dooku is the strongest Force user the Separatists have access to. Cunning lets your command cards auto-win ties, which is pretty useful, and Deflect lets you take advantage of dodge tokens, which is, of course, standard force fare, but pretty useful. Immune Pierce is also your standard lightsaber user upgrade. Makashi Mastery is almost always worth using, so it makes sure that 1 wound always goes through. And Master of the Force 2 and 3 Force slots is absolutely fantastic. Also, saving on reds, Surge to crit, and hitting with 5 red dice, Impact 2, Pierce 2. Perfect. Also, Force user having access to lightning, that's also scatter keyword, fantastic. The T-Series Tactical Droid is your generic droid commander and is completely worth taking. Bolster 2 is great with B1s or really any droid unit. Direct Droid Trooper unit is amazing with AI. as you're just getting even more orders out there. Sharpshooter 1 makes the shooting on him pretty useful, considering otherwise it would be kind of bad. He is a glass cannon, so position him well. And glass cannon is he can't hit hard, but when he's alive, he is buffing your B1s back and forth. Next up is the Super Tactical Droid. There are 3 different Super Tactical Droid variations: Normal, Kraken, and Kalani. Strategize 1 is super useful, and Kalani gets Strategize 2, which is even more useful. Direct AI gets you another order out, which is fantastic. However, Kraken gets a charge instead. Override 1 is good to help mitigate AI, making you do something you don't want to do. Kraken gets Override 2. Kalani gets the reinforcement keyword as well. The base has normal Sharpshooter. Kalani and Kraken have Sharpshooter 2. All of their attacks are slightly different, but follow the same 2 dice rule. However, Kraken has a 4 red dice melee option that does have Pierce 1. Now, some of the shooting is black and white or black and black, but most of these guys are going to look the same, and really, you want to take one of the 3. They're good. They're almost twice the price of the T-Series, but they save on reds, they surge to hit, and they're harder to kill. So if you want your tactical droid to stay on the field longer, it's a pretty good pick. Starting off with the operatives is Maul. Maul is an interesting card. He has a very deadly melee, which combined with his jump 1 and his move 2 means he's moving fast, far, and hitting hard. Juyo Mastery gives him the ability to have 3 activations, which considering he doesn't have Master of the Force is pretty useful. His red 3 and 3 white impact 2 and pierce 2 attack is very useful, and 6 dice for each attack is gonna hit hard. He's a good, solid choice for an operative, and worth taking in a lot of lists. And Asajj Ventress is your second operative for the Separatists. She is a fast-moving and mobile melee machine. Jump 2 is an amazing movement buff, and Deflect plus Immune Pierce is your standard lightsaber fare. Indomitable gives you red dice on the rally phase, which is pretty good. Independent Dodge 1 and Jarkai Mastery combine together to get you free saves and make you a pretty good melee threat. Relentless plus her 8 black dice, impact, and pierce 2 attack is a really good mobile attack combo on top of all the other options she has. And getting Makashi Mastery from her command card makes her melee hit super hard and is almost always worth it, as it's the same buff Dooku gets. Next up is the first of the core units, the B1 Battle Droids. The B1 Battle Droid is your baseline horde unit, and it could be a staple to your list. They have 1 health, 1 courage, no surge, and all white dice. However, they come in groups of 6, which means you can lose a lot of them. AI attack means that you are taking an attack action if able to as your first action. And considering it's only courage 1, this could be, your only action. But coordinate droid trooper and proper movement usually negates this. And coordinate droid trooper is the way you want to take these guys. The Separatists are strongest when they are chaining orders around to each other with B1s as a baseline. They also have 2 unique upgrades, the E-5C B1 Trooper, which adds 3 black dice to the pool, and the E-60R B1 Trooper that adds a range 2-4, impact 2, 1 red, 2 black rocket launcher, which is actually a really good anti-vehicle for the price you're paying for this. The B1 Upgrade Pack. This includes the 00M series battle droid, a B1 security droid, a radiation cannon trooper, and an E-5S trooper. The 00M series battle droid gives the B1s a coordinate range of 1-2 instead, which is actually really useful, and can make your little daisy chains of droids just a little harder to break. The security droid removes AI attack, but is an exhaustible card, so it needs to be recovered to be used more than once. The radiation cannon trooper is really good. It adds 2 red dice and gives out a poison token. The way a poison token works is, if the enemy has to save against the attack that the poison keyword is in, they get a token. At the start of their next activation, that converts into a wound. You're essentially getting a free wound in every shot. That's not counting those 2 red dice you're rolling as well. The E-5S is a 1 red, 1 white, range 4, critical 1 weapon. It is the sniper of the group, but it is also surprisingly pretty good and versatile. Next up are the B2 Super Battle Droids. The B2 Super Battle Droid is a very solid and hard to move core unit. AI attack is another possible drawback, since they don't have coordinate, it may come up more often. Armor 1 is pretty good to increase survivability, and 2 health helps a lot. Having a base 1 black and 1 white attack dice also makes their shooting better than a mob of B1s. They have two upgrade options, the BT-ACM, which adds 3 red dice, and the BT-HA Trooper, which adds 2 red, 1 white, blast, cycle, and impact 2 gun. However, it is a range 2 to 3 gun, so can't be done at range 1 to 2. Saving on white also still isn't the best, but armor 1 helps with that. Next up are the Separatist Specialists. These can be used with most droid trooper units and include a Tactical Droid, Viper Recon, PK Series, and EV Series droid. The T-Series Tactical Droid has you lose AI attack and gain Reliable 1, which gives you a Surge token. Also adds 1 red dice to the attack pool. The Viper Recon Droid adds Observe 2, a 2 white dice attack, and Sidearm Ranged, which means it can only use the range 2 white dice attack for ranged attacks. The PK Series Worker Droid adds Repair 1, Capacity 2, which is a good way to heal your droids up. The EV Series Medical Droid has Treat 1, Capacity 2, which means you can only heal non-droid units. You're taking this to heal your Commanders or Operatives. Starting the Special Forces breakdown are your BX Series Droid Commandos. The Droid Commandos have an interesting AI, doing dodge or move, both of which are pretty useful picks. Impervious gives them some good anti-lightsaber buffs. Saving on red helps a lot as well. Scale in Scout 3 means you're moving these guys crazy far turn 1 and pretty much wherever you want. Sharpshooter 1 makes their 2 white dice attack pretty decent, and Surge to Crit makes it okay. They have 4 unique upgrades. Starting with their equipment, you have Deflector Shields, which give Shielded 2 and Recharge 2. Vibra Swords give them a 1 red, 1 white dice melee attack, and they gain the Charge keyword. So you can only take one of those 2, but it's a trade-off. The BX Series Sniper gives a 2 red dice, lethal 1, immune deflect keyword in there. And the Dioxis Mine Saboteur gives a mine that has 1 black, 2 white dice, and a poison 1 effect, which makes it a pretty good don't walk here. The Droid Commando Strike Team. Second verse, same as the first. The main reason to take these is to have a long-range sniper or a mobile mine layer. They are a semi-cheap activation filler. And the IG-100 MagnaGaurd. The MagnaGaurd are a force to be reckoned with and one of my personal favorite minis. Their AI dodge move almost has no downsides. Charge is amazing with their really decent melee and immune melee pierce. Guardian 2 and Retinue means your dodge token generation is just really high. 2 health and saving on reds is fantastic for a droid unit. They have 2 unique upgrades. The Electro Whip adds a 2 red dice, versatile, immobilize 1 attack. And the RPS-6 MagnaGaurd is a decent anti-vehicle at 1 red, black, and white dice attack with impact 2 and critical 1. However, kinda going back into here. With immune melee pierce, 2 move, charge, you are doing amazing against lightsaber wielders. I have had a unit of these wipe out a unit of my Mandalorians that I play with the Shadow Collective. If you roll well, they are fantastic. And even if you don't roll well, it can be hard to move them. You have to focus fire down on them sometimes if you don't have a good get rid of them thing. This is one of my favorite Separatist units, and I will be owning more than just one thing of them soon. The DRK-1 Sith Probe Droids. These probe droids can only be taken with Darth Maul, but that's fine. Having Observe 3 is useful, and Hover Air 1 means you can move fast and far. A suppressive range 2 attack makes them a pretty decent support unit. Incognito is the reason to take them, as it means you can move them along with Maul and keep them safe until they do what they need to do, which is support him with Observe, shoot something away from him, or take some fire. Very much made of glass, as with only 3 wounds and a white save, you're getting wiped off the board pretty quick with these things. Starting out the support are the Droidekas. The Droideka fit an interesting slot in the droid army. AI attack and move is pretty general and can be useful. Generator 1, Shielded 4, and Surge to Defend make saving on white manageable. They do count as a vehicle, so they do move like one instead of a trooper, so that does have some drawbacks. However, Real Mode is very useful to make some of these drawbacks less obvious. Having Suppressive, Immune Deflect, 1 red, and 2 black dice is very good against most things. Now, the reason these aren't the best is the current melee meta. Shields do not work in melee. So if something runs up and hits you, you're saving on whites, certain to defend. I mean, if a Jedi with Pierce 3 hits you, you're losing 1 Droideka. So, keep that in mind. Next up are the STAP Riders. The STAP are another solid inclusion to most droid lists. Agile 1 is very useful, an AI move lets you take advantage of it. Giving such a mobile unit coordinate is very useful as well, as it lets you chain around commands so much better than before. Cover 1 is your standard speeder fare, and Speeder 1 gives you a compulsory move, which is your standard fare. You want to move a lot. 3 black dice, critical 1, fixed front makes for a decent ranged attack, but be careful, with no armor you can be shot down pretty fast. Next up are the Dwarf Spider Droids. The DSD-1 Dwarf Spider Droids have a lot going on. They are one of the only ones to get a surge attack and defend. Self-Destruct 4 can be really good considering it's a 3 red, blast, impact 1 attack. Climbing Vehicle and Expert Climber means you're going anywhere on this battlefield. It has 3 programmed cards: Attack Protocols, which give AI Aim and Precise 2, Defense, which gives AI Dodge, Nimble, and Outmaneuver, Engagement Protocols, which give AI Attack, Move. I mean, one of these is probably the best, and that's Defense. It has 3 different ranged weapon upgrades. All of these are fixed front. Nose-mounted flamethrowers is a 1 red, 1 white, dice blast spray weapon, which means ignoring cover and rolling 1 red and 1 white for every minion in the enemy unit. The nose-mounted ion blaster, which gives a range 2, Psycho, 3 black, 3 white, ion 1, impact 2 attack. Psycho means you have to wait a cycle for it to auto-refresh. Nose-mounted laser cannon, which gives a whopping 1 red, 3 black, and 1 white dice, critical 1 attack. A good general all-rounder. This is an interesting vehicle, and I love it on paper. I'm curious to actually play it. The AAT Battle Tank, your droid's mainline tank. It is a beast. It has AI attack. Armor and saving on reds is amazing, although no surges is a little sad. Arsenal 2 and Barrage give you variation on your shooting. You could do a lot up close and personal, or you could actually hit 8 red dice on something pretty far away. With high velocity and impact 1 and critical 2, you're ignoring dodge tokens, you're ignoring some parts of armor, and you're also getting 2 extra crits, so it's pretty good. Hover ground makes it easier to move that already massive tank. Weak point 2 rear is not that bad of a weakness considering how big this mini is. It has 3 unique pilot upgrades. Lock Dward is an exhaustible card that makes you lose AI attack, and when exhausted gives suppression to all your attacks. While he is exhausted, you still lose AI attack. That is a permanent thing. The 00M series droid pilot lets you get coordinate droid trooper. The T series tactical droid has you lose AI attack and gives you field commander, which is nice actually, having a tank as a field commander. And the final unit on this list is the NR-N99 Persuader class tank droid. This is another interesting droid unit. Like the Dwarf Spider Droid, it has both surges and programmed. Arsenal 2 means you can get both shots off, which is pretty useful. Reposition is very useful since you don't have hover. Transport 1 open can be useful to increase its effective shooting and make it a threat that the enemy doesn't want to approach, but in open transport means they can also shoot off what you're transporting, so, be careful. Weak point 1 sides is a big negative, as it is a giant tank and its sides being almost always exposed means it can lose health fast. Even though on paper with 11 health, surges to defend, and white dice, you got something close to the ATST, be careful with it. And finally, a first possible list for you. This is something I am close to running right now, although I don't have any B2s or a Dwarf Spider Droid yet. Kalani and Grievous give you a lot of order generation and a melee powerhouse. And giving them aggressive tactics means you're generating a lot of surge tokens as well. Some baseline battle droids to fill up your activations. I tossed 4 in the list, as they are very cheap and they actually do their job pretty well. 2 super battle droids to give you a slightly harder hitting armor front that the enemy will want to focus down while they ignore your B1s which are the real threat. An IG-100 MagnaGaurd to charge into melee with Grievous so he doesn't die. This also gives you an Electro Whip MagnaGaurd, which is, I think, a really good buff as it has the immobilized token, and you can shoot it outside of ranged and whip something else to stop it from moving closer. The BX series droid Commandos with Vibra Swords is an extra melee threat just in case the MagnaGaurds can't get it done. And the Dwarf Spider Droid with attack protocols and its nose-mounted laser cannon as an all-rounder help with anti-tank. Now I hope you enjoyed this video. I love the Separatists. I also love all the support you've given me recently. Leave a comment. I read all of them. I haven't replied to all of them in a while, but I read all of them, and I appreciate all the support and the welcome this community has given me. I am considering opening up a community Discord soon, considering the amount of love and support that we've been given. I think it would be a good haven for new players. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Enjoy the weekend.